programming on 90.7 WKGC and the Commodore Sports Network is sponsored by Sweet Bay. Sweet Bay is a bayfront village in Panama City that features parks, walking trails to the water, a future town center, and more. A community connected at the water's edge, Sweet Bay. More information about Sweet Bay online at sweetbayfl.com or 844-35-SWEET.
This is Coach's Corner.
Welcome, Commodore fans, to Coach's Corner, a production of Gulf Coast State College and the digital media program here. We want to thank the folks at Sweet Bay for sponsoring Coach's Corner. So Coach Gaffney and I will talk about what we played last week, what we got coming up this week, and probably talk a little bit about how the Panhandle Conference opened and how the other teams are doing right now. So welcome, Coach. Right now, open with a win, 1-0. Defeated Coastal Alabama North 89-70 on the road for your opener.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So if we look at that game, scored 55 points in the first half. That's quite an opening game.
Well, that's the way we like to play. We play a real fast style of basketball. We try to really run a lot. We try to press. We try to make it up tempo and make people play a little bit faster than they might normally play. And we're kind of used to it. That's how we play. So we want them to play the way we want to play. So that's kind of the idea. If you see teams playing pretty fast this year, then we probably have a good chance of playing with them. And if they slow it down, we might have a few problems. Even though we try to play good in the slow in the half court, we want to try to get it fast. So the 55 points is where we'd want to be. We didn't score obviously that many in the second half. Foul trouble hurt us a little bit. We weren't able to press maybe as much as we'd like to. But I think getting out and playing on the road in front of a packed house, literally every seat was taken, a very small gymnasium up at Coastal North. So it was a little hostile environment, not like the friendly confines of in Panama City. So great for us, great opportunity to play on the road, especially with a brand new team. They're all new to my system, and a lot of freshmen, a lot of guys who just turned 18 years old. So good experience for us to get our feet wet.
So if you look at that, halftime score 55-41, in the second half scored 34 to their 29, so a total of 89-70. Had 5 players in double figures. And with some foul trouble, it sounds like.
And that was really what got us in the second half. Kim Holden, our leading scorer, fouled out. I made a mistake keeping track of the fouls. We thought he had 4, and the folks at the table said he had 5. So, of course, the table's always going to be right, James, especially in Alabama. So he fouled out with about 11 to go, and Kevin Godwin, KK as we call him, KK fouled out as well. And they're probably our 2 leading scorers, I think, in the game. And so we had to play pretty much the last 10 minutes without those 2. So that was it slowed us down a little bit. And then the foul trouble stopped us from being as aggressively defensively as we were in the beginning of the game. Our defense really fuels our offense. So we scored to 55 because we really turned them over and getting out and running and getting a lot of easy baskets, a lot of easy threes, which we didn't get the last 10 minutes, but at least we got through it without those 2 of our best players.
So, and you had Howard come off the bench for 19.
Yeah, he's a bucket. He's a walking bucket. He's a scorer, and we kind of brought him in and said, what you're going to do is you're going to come off the bench, and that's your role, and to score points. And are you comfortable with that? He said, Coach, it's not about starting or I just want to finish the game. I want to be in there in prime time. So he comes off the bench, and there's no question he'll be one of our leading scorers. And it's great to have that in your back pocket. 19 points a game off the bench is a luxury.
And 5 of 8 from the three-point line, 7 of 14. So he shoots the ball well from the floor. So a tremendous new player to the program. Let's talk a little bit about who's new. Well, they're all new to you. So we might as well just start at the top and come down. So.
The 4 who were returning, I think we had about 9 who could return, and we asked 4. We did our research into them. What kind of people are they? What kind of players are they? And I went and re-recruited them. So I went into Kim Holden's house up in Forsyth, Georgia. I went into Kevin Godwin's house in Bluntstown, Florida. I went to Macon to see Maurice Gordon, and then went to saw Jacoby Owens in Warner Robins, Georgia. So I wanted to re-recruit them, sit in their house, sit with their mom and dad, sit in their living room, talk with them, see what they're about. Wanted to explain what I was about, what I thought the vision of our program could be, and how important it was to graduate, how important academics was, and how important it was to give full effort, be the best version of themselves, and what we were trying to do. The style we play was going to be a little different. Coach Powell laid a great foundation here, and how we were going to try to add to it, but it was going to be a little bit different, and not better or worse, just different. And they all seemed pretty excited about it, and so that's where we started off with those 4. And then from those 4, as our base, we branched out to all the new players we have.
And those 4 all scored double figures. Nice thing about them, you won't have to talk about what it's like to play in the Panhandle Conference, because they played in the Panhandle Conference. And last year as freshmen, they had to grow up in the Panhandle Conference. And those 4 young men, you could see them getting better and better every game last year. So that's a good thing. Now, you recruited in some new players. You want to talk about where you got them from and what you expect from them?
Yeah, we got them from all over the place. Trayvon Mayo is a D1 transfer from North Carolina A&T. He's from Greensboro, North Carolina, my old haunts up there. And we have a kid named Deion Butler, who's almost 7 foot tall. He didn't play last game. He's got injured back, but he's going to be a big part of what we do. He'd be a sophomore as well. I was going to the guys that are sophomores, although Trayvon got a redshirt year. He probably will leave after this year. But we got a lot of great freshmen in too. Devontae Cook is a freshman point guard, super fast, super quick player out of New York City. So we went to another angle there. We have, I'm trying to think off the top of my head here. Kaylin Marzette is from Detroit, Michigan, Southfield in the suburbs. Great wing player, heavily recruited player, got qualified very late in the game. So we're very fortunate to have him. We got a couple big men from Atlanta, Georgia. We have Nolan Coswell. His dad played 10 years in the NBA for the Miami Heat, among other players. Dwayne Coswell played on the Temple team with John Chaney that went to the Final Four. So he's got a great pedigree and is going to be a great player for us. And Derek Harden's also he's from Pebblebrook High School, where Grant Howard's from, who we talked about. Grant was the guy coming off the bench for us. So that high school produced a lot of big-time talent, big-time NBA talent. So those young guys are all going to have to step up. They're going to have their opportunities, but we're going to need them to really step up. And hopefully the guys returning will give us that leadership. And like you said, they've been through the Panhandle, they've been through the wars, they know what it's like to go play at Tallahassee, Pensacola, go up to Mariana and play. So in Niceville. So I think we have a pretty good mix of veterans and a good mix of young guys to play the game.
For an opening game, 16 turnovers. What do you think?
It's way too many, and Jacoby Owens had about 6 of them, and so we talked to him about that, and he's not somebody that turns the ball over, so that was pretty uncharacteristic for him. But our style of play, it's not it's going to happen. We're going to turn the ball over a lot. We're going to try to make you turn it over 30. If we hold it down to 10, that means we get the ball back 20 extra times. And I don't care who you're playing. If you're playing LeBron James and you get the ball 20 times, LeBron gets it 0 times, you're going to probably beat LeBron because you're going to get lucky and score a basket on him. So as many times we can get the ball back and usually these turnovers, James, make for easy shots. So we'll turn it over. These live ball turnovers, not the travels or the throw it out of bounds, but the live ball turnovers leads to layups at the other end. And hopefully we'll be pretty good shooting layups.
So shot well from the free throw line, 78.4%, 29-37. So not bad free throw shooting.
Getting there 37, I think, is even more important than the percentage.
So
when you get there to 37 times, that means you're attacking the basket. And that was on the road. So we got a pretty good whistle up there. We had 3 good Panhandle Conference referees. And you go on the road and you shoot almost 40 free throws. You're doing something right.
Doing something right. So 32% from the three-point line and 41.3 overall for the game. So a good opening game, Coach.
The 3 was not very good. 32% is a little low, and it dragged down for the 41 overall because we're almost about 50 from 2, which is really good. Well, 32 is low. Playing first game on in a hostile environment on somebody else's court, you're probably not going to shoot the ball that well. But as you said, Grant Howard 5 for 8 from 3, just outstanding.
So, all right, let's move on now. We play Impact Academy Tuesday the 5th. What do you know about them, Coach?
Don't know much. Don't have any tape on them. I know the coach used to be at another program, and he's over at Impact now. So the next 2 games, I know our prep schools had a tough time filling out our schedule. Got a little bit of a late start, and really people just didn't want to play us. So it was very, very difficult to get teams to play us. Don't anticipate having that next year, but it was very, very tough this year. After that is where it's going to be real challenging. Not that these 2 games, Tuesday, Saturday, won't be against Middle Georgia Prep and against Impact. But then we have Daytona, Georgia Highlands coming in, play Georgia Highlands first. Obviously, being my old school, that's going to be a lot of fun. But they're in the poll, Daytona's in the poll, and then we got to go to Chipola, where we play a good East Mississippi, but also Indian Hills, and they're in the poll. So 3 straight games against teams in the poll is kind of a tough way to start before Thanksgiving. But we're going to know before Thanksgiving whether we're going to be pretenders or contenders. We win all those games, we'll have a great shot at being nationally ranked. If you can beat Daytona, Georgia Highlands, Indian Hills, that's a tough 3-game stretch right there.
And in this case, the men will play at 4 o'clock Saturday, but the women's will have 2 games going on at 12 and 2. So Commodore fans can come out and watch 3 good basketball games.
Unbelievable. You get to 12, 2, and 4, get to see really good teams. I know Coach Scovel's got great teams coming into play. In fact, Georgia Highlands, my old school, their women's team's coming into play, and they're nationally ranked as well. And Florida Southwestern's coming up, and what a great game our women had. Unbelievable. Number 1 versus I think number 6, and that was unbelievable. Our girls pulled out a fantastic game down there. So what a great way to see some basketball on Saturday.
So we've got Ben Sims coming in. They're always a national contender.
Right.
So it will be a great day of basketball in addition. So 2 women's games, a men's game all on Saturday. So come out and support the Commodores. If we look quickly, coaches poll, Chipola tied for 3rd in the state coaches poll. Tallahassee 5, Northwest Florida is 6, Gulf Coast receiving votes, and Pensacola State receiving votes. What do you think about the poll, the first state coaches poll?
Well, obviously we're not too thrilled. Like we fit 11 out of 20 teams. We would like to be in the top half and be. In fact, we would like to be in the top half of the country. We scrimmaged Florida Southwestern. It was only a scrimmage, but we beat Florida Southwestern. They're 3 in the preseason national poll, and they're number 1 in the state poll. So we're coming in with the attitude that if we play hard and play together, we can play with anybody. So that's fine that we weren't a top 10 team, but James, we're going to do everything we can to get in that top 10 and get in that top 5 and get to be number 1 if we can at some point.
And if we look at the conference team, Chipola is 2-0, Pensacola State 2-0, Gulf Coast 1-0, Northwest Florida State 1-0, and Tallahassee is 1-0. So everybody in the Panhandle Conference won this past weekend.
Which is kind of what you expect. Those guys are all super talented and are playing great basketball. So we're going to have our work cut out for us.
And if we go down quickly, teams from the state in the national poll, Florida Southwestern ranked 3rd, Eastern Florida State ranked 5th, Chipola ranked 7th, Daytona State ranked 12th, and Tallahassee ranked 16th, all from the state of Florida.
Yeah, we got a lot of them on our schedule, so that's going to be crazy.
So a great test, a great way to get prepared, because truthfully there's 2 seasons, Coach. One season is the record and you can brag about it, but the other season you hang on the wall.
Absolutely.
And so all these games leading up till January 1st are all getting prepared to see who can move on and play at the next level.
You're correct. That's absolutely right.
So in that case, we're excited about you being here, Coach. We're excited to see the Commodores play. And so for Coach Gaffney, I'm James Spaxley. I'll be right back, Commodore fans, with Coach Rooney Scovel and talk about the Lady Commodores on the Commodore Sports Network.
Programming on 90.7 WKGC and the Commodore Sports Network is sponsored by Sweet Bay. Sweet Bay is a bayfront village in Panama City that features parks, walking trails to the water, a future town center, and more. A community connected at the water's edge, Sweet Bay. More information about Sweet Bay online at sweetbayfl.com or 844-35-SWEET.
Welcome back, Commodore fans, to Coach's Corner. Coach Rooney Scovel and I will talk about how the Lady Commodores did and 2 really good games last week and some really good games coming up this week. Lady Commodores right now, defending national champions, 2-0 overall, ranked number 1 in the state coaches poll, ranked number 1 in the NJCA national poll. A good start for the Lady Commodores, Coach. Went on the road and played Broward, won 98-42, and a good test for an opening game for the Lady Commodores.
Absolutely, they're going. That's quite the trip, and I think it took us about 11 hours to get there because we ran into 2 different accidents and got held up. So we got there and had a late practice Friday night and Thursday night. And got to get in the Coliseum. It's a beautiful place. But anyway, so we shot the ball well for a first game. We seemed to be pretty composed, had some good numbers, good percentages, not so high on turnover. So our stats look pretty good for an opening weekend.
So if you look at that, you're talking about shooting 66% from the free throw line, 37.8% from the three-point line, and 42.5% overall, and a big game, on the road game. Yep. So a nice shooting night. If you look at scoring, Smith with 26 points, Coach.
Yeah, and she did that. I think it was about 22 minutes of play. So she had the ability. She could have scored a lot more, but it was an opportunity to play everybody, and everybody play significant minutes. The whole bench played. So it was a great team victory to be able to do that in your first game out. That was great, and we knew that the next day was going to be quite the challenge. So we were trying in the second half to save some legs of the people that we thought might have to play extended minutes, and that turned out to be very, very true in the second game.
So, well, let's talk a little more about that first game because we got to make sure we cover it. Bondu with a double-double, 20 points, 10 rebounds, coming back from last year, a tremendous player.
Yeah, and she's taken on more of a leadership role and playing with more confidence, has added some things to her game. Her mid-range game is definitely much improved from last year, but just the confidence of using it and what shot to use at what time. She's making great decisions, great passer. And she's a big guard, so that makes her, and she just recently committed to Miami last week after her visit. So, she's going to go play in the ACC and play big-time basketball. But she had a great tournament along with Alana, and then Layla Grant, the person who didn't have any experience, I think scored 17 in that game, and she's been big on threes for us and great percentages, shooting well over 50%, from threes. So probably when you look at, the experience and what the performance based on experience, I would have to say maybe, the tip goes to Layla.
So a nice outing. Like you said, almost everybody got double-digit minutes to play. Yeah. A good game, road game. At the end of the first quarter, it was 33-17. She scored 29 points to 8 in the second, scored 18 points to 14 in the third, and then 18 points to 3 points. Yeah. So the Lady Commodores obviously played some pretty good defense, I would think.
Yeah, we did. We were just solid. Everything was good. The rebounding in that particular game was outstanding. I think it might have been 59 for the game.
59 rebounds.
That's outstanding for the fact that we're a little bit undersized because we don't have Deasia Gregg that's going to be eligible to play until December in the second semester. So to get that many rebounds, our guards are big guards and they're rebounding well and they're athletic. So that game, it was really exciting. Anytime you get a great team victory and everybody gets to feel like they were a significant part of that, it's a great win.
So now the next night we played Florida Southwestern. Florida Southwestern is ranked number 3 in the state coaches poll, ranked number 8 in the NJCA national poll, and we're playing them at their place. Yeah. And I understand they had a good crowd.
They had a really good crowd. I think they were getting ready to put us get themselves on the map, to take off the number 1 ranked team at the moment. Mm-hmm. And they have the players. I was real concerned about our matchups. Matter of fact, I changed the lineup for the second day to get a little better matchup and a little more offensive production by starting Layla Grant. And that turned out, sometimes you make bad decisions, but that ended up being a good decision because she scored 30 points in the game. And but it was just an outstanding. They had a big crowd. They had their men's team there. I think they were all ready to take Gulf Coast down.
Now, Gulf Coast won in overtime, 97-89.
Yeah.
And at the end of the first quarter, it was 12 Gulf Coast, 29 Lady Commodores.
Yeah.
And then Lady Commodores scored 22 points in the second quarter. They scored 14. Third quarter tied 21. Lady Commodores scored 26-17 in that fourth quarter, so they had to keep battling back. And probably a real testament to the Lady Commodores and the coaching staff on conditioning, because that last little bit there, they were up, they had it all, it was running, firing their way, but the Lady Commodores may have had a little more legs because of the conditioning they do.
I would say that's a big part of it, and and mental toughness and ability, of course. And that game, just every time we'd get close, we'd get within 4, we'd make 2 or 3 mistakes, and we'd go back to 8 or 9. So it got to be 19 at one point in the second quarter. We just couldn't hit shots, and when we can't hit, we kind of want to take our ball and go home, and didn't want to fight the fight. So we kind of had to battle that a little bit as a team. But I was real proud of the way we did. Once we got going, we did. We never got unsettled, even when we made mistakes. We just played the next possession. I was real proud of the fact that it was just our second game in, basically a brand new team, and they just played possession by possession. And strangely enough, at the end, we got a 3-point shot off to tie it, to go into overtime. So, at that point, you had to know that Florida Southwestern, the air got let out because they had us so badly. So, I thought we had the advantage in the overtime, but they're very, very talented.
Well, that's why they're ranked number 8 in the country. So, now Smith scored 39 points, Coach, with 34 minutes of play.
Yeah. And honestly, she didn't shoot the ball well early at all. Like she probably missed her first 6 or 7 or 10 shots in the game. So, for her to stay with it, we had to kind of talk about that. We'll just keep shooting. You're going to be all right. You're going to score. And then once she got going, that's one of the things that we talk about when we play opponents. You can't let certain players get comfortable, because once they do, you can't stop them. And that kind of happened to her. Once she got going, like it didn't matter how she shot it. It was going in, and she was committed to scoring and making plays for us, and made some big plays. But that was a great team effort. We had a lot of different kids do some different stuff. Tatiana Jones had 17 rebounds. On the offensive side, she's got to continue to improve on that. But she got some big rebounds late in the game. Naomi got some big steals. Leah got some big steals and hit some big free throws. It was a great team comeback and a great team victory to go do that in their house, because they've been trying to validate themselves when everybody said, oh, maybe they shouldn't have gone to the national tournament last year. So they've been trying to validate that they should have been there, and they should have been there, and probably going to be there this year. I'm just thankful that we managed to sneak one out of there and ride that long ride home and get away from Florida Southwestern, because they're very talented.
They're a valuable team. Bondu with another double, 10 rebounds, 16 points. Grant put up 30. 19 turnovers, so there are 18 turnovers. Right. Pretty balanced, playing in a really hostile. But the nice thing about that is they had to come from behind and dig early. Yeah. So it's something they've had to do. Yeah. Because going to Northwest or Chipola and some places, that will be good for that experience.
Oh, absolutely. It'll always be something kind of, if you want to look in your bag of tricks later on down the road, we'll be able to look back on that experience and say, we've done this, and we might have to do it again, and hope not. But it was a fun game to coach. It was a high caliber play. When you say you play 45 minutes and there's 19 turnovers on one team and 18 on the other, it was really kind of end of season caliber of play, honestly.
Oh, so that's pretty good to hear.
Yeah.
Now, Lady Commodores have visit Panama City Beach basketball tournament. An actual tournament, where the winners will play the winners and the losers will play the losers on the second day. And so Vin Sims coming down, always a great, usually at the national tournament.
Absolutely.
Tremendous thing. So Lady Commodores will play at 5 o'clock on Friday against Vin Sims. What do you expect other than the battle?
He's got a little size this time. He's got and Harry's always going to have fundamental. They're going to do all. They're going to dumb you down, as we say it when we try to practice for it, and they're very fundamental. They're going to rebound well. They're going to shoot the long ball well, and they're just going to execute almost to perfection. And so we just got to hope that usually it's fundamental versus athleticism, and we've been fortunate enough for athleticism to win out most of the time. And, but I think it's going to be a great game. We're excited about this because, we used to play tournaments, but we got away from it because the Panhandle teams might see each other more than 3 or 4 teams. So, 4 is way too many, so we didn't need to see each other 5 or 6 times. But, when you're trying to get ready for postseason play and it's one and done, you need to get that experience. So we've been trying to do this for a couple years, but you had to have the right teams in, so you didn't have another Panhandle team in, and it worked out. And I think all 4 coaches are excited about this being a tournament play. I think you're going to see more of that in the future. I know there's already Brandon Harrell at Georgia Highlands is trying to create one next year of some top caliber teams. So I think we're going to see more tournament play here in the future.
And that's good. And then after the Lady Commodores play, Georgia Highlands and Florida Southwestern will play. So you got number 21 in the country playing number 8 in the country. So that'll be a great basketball game to watch.
I think so too. Georgia Highlands has some really nice post players. We struggled with them in a jamboree. We ended up winning the game, but they pose some real challenges. So I think their matchup with the post against Florida Southwestern is probably a little better than our matchup was. I think the guard play that you might have to lean towards Florida Southwestern, but I think it's going to be a good game, and I think both games are going to be good. And then the following day, but whether it's the consolation game or the championship game, those are all. It's going to be great games this weekend. And
then on Saturday, the consolation game will start at 12, and the championship game will start at 2. So one might say, well, it'll be Gulf Coast and Florida Southwestern in a rematch.
It might be, but at the end of the day, you better just go play this one Friday and not worry about Saturday until Friday night's over with, because I can't really tell you what's going to happen. I hope we're in the 2 o'clock game Saturday in the championship game, but the best thing about all these fall games is we're getting better. We're being battle tested because we're playing some really top caliber teams.
And so, and then the men will play after that championship game. So, Commodore fans can come out and watch 3 good games.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And then, quickly, if we look at the state coaches poll, Gulf Coast ranked number 1, Northwest ranked number 2, Chipola ranked number 4, Tallahassee ranked number 6, Pensacola ranked number 8. Typical Panhandle Conference basketball.
It is. Probably the one thing that's not typical is that Pensacola already took a loss and Tallahassee already took a loss. That's usually not typical. It's usually, I know we've had years where all the Panhandle teams were undefeated going into the Panhandle Conference. So I think there's a little shake-up. I've been saying that, when you look at Region 8, they're closing the gap if we all think that the Panhandle's at the top. And we've won the region for a lot of years and represented the national tournament for the last 5 years. But they're definitely closing the gap. Florida Southwestern for sure. Eastern Florida's got a great team this year. Daytona State beat Tallahassee the other day by 2. So, if we want to say closing the gap, they're definitely closing it because there's some really talented teams in Region 8 this year.
So Chipola 2-0, Gulf Coast 2-0, Northwest Florida 1-0, Pensacola 1-1, and then Tallahassee 0-1, as Coach talked about. National poll, Lady Commodores ranked number 1. Lady Raiders of Northwest Florida State is number 5. Florida Southwestern is number 8. And Chipola is number 22 in the preseason national poll.
I think there'll be some shake-up there. And I'm glad we're at the top, just for the fact that, it's a nice compliment and hopefully we have some nice players. But there's going to be some shake-up, and I wish I could say that would be the same team at the top when we end the season. But last year, the number 1 ranked team, I think it changed about 8 or 10 or 12 times. So hopefully we can stay on top for a little while, but it may be short-lived after this weekend.
So, well, we'll see. For Coach Rooney Scovel, I'm Jamie Spaxley. Thanks for watching, Commodore fans, and we'll see you next week on the Commodore Sports Network.
This has been Coach's Corner with your host, James Baxley.